Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this is the Terran versus Terran matchup probably of this decade, of this generation. This is Flash versus Leta, going to be played on Destination. It is a best of 3. It is the MSL round of 16, and this is huge. Leta is the up-and-coming Terran upstart. He has a 70% win record right now. Both of these players with 70% win records, and both of these players with huge win records in Terran versus Terran. Although, it has to be said, it looks like Leta's going to be starting up in the orange at the 12 o'clock position at the top of the map, and Flash at the bottom hand side of the map, playing Terran also, obviously, in red at the 6 o'clock position. But I have to say, obviously, Flash's record is more impressive because he's just played so many more games, and he's beaten a lot more top Terran opponents than someone, say, like Leta, who hasn't faced off against the best of the best as yet, especially in best of 3s and best of 5s. So this is his chance to prove himself. If he can take Flash down here in a best of 3 with some good, solid StarCraft, I think he's going to really put his name on the map. And doubters like myself, who have been saying that he really needs to prove himself on the big stage before we can really call him the top player playing right now, well, this is his chance. His confidence obviously would have taken a blow with that loss to Savior about a week or so ago, but obviously this is a different arena entirely. This is Terran versus Terran, and both these players have beastly records. Leta obviously with something like a 70% win rate again versus Terran. So it'll be interesting to see what he's got planned for Flash. And Flash, interesting enough, to send that SCV out very early to his natural expo. It looks like Flash might be going for a 14cc build here, and this is going to be huge. This might be a huge risk by Flash, and it'll be interesting to see when that gets scouted out and what Leta's response to it. Okay, it looks like he's decided not to. Looks like he's actually gone for a scout. So interesting for Flash. Looked like his SCV stopped at his natural expo there, and it's circling around. Maybe he's just scouting out for some sort of a cheese build, but he's just looks like he's taken minerals from his natural expo and then pull that SCV back. A little bit of a strange maneuver by Flash. Again, maybe the only thing I can think of that he was trying to scout out and make sure that Leta hadn't sent a very early SCV out to try and cheese him or something like that. I think we have seen a Terran player try and sneak an SCV behind that mineral patch off the natural expo. I'm not sure which matchup that was, but we have seen that recently, and I think that's what Flash was worried about a little bit. Leta was obviously going for a more standard build, getting his extractor and racks up and running. Flash still hasn't taken an extractor or started building his first barracks, and again, it does look like Flash, even though he's pulled that initial SCV that he sent sent back, he might indeed be going for a 14cc build here, and this is going to be huge. This is going to be interesting. Leta still hasn't sent that scouting SCV out, and that I think is going to obviously work in Flash's favor, because Leta, had he known what Flash is doing, might adapt his build, and Flash indeed is going for that 14cc. So, but Flash has made a slightly careless mistake early on, sending that early SCV out to that natural expo and then having to pull it back. You've got to feel that was a mistake, and I feel that the best chance Leta has for beating Flash is right now, and it does look like 70% players favoring Flash, and Flash now putting his bunker down just south of his round, probably just to provide a little bit of obstruction, and again to provide a little bit of forward floating, I guess, although it isn't really that far ahead. Now taking his extractor out, Leta is sending his SCV out, so he's going to see this enough in time to be able to put pressure on Flash, and the question is whether Flash is going to be able to hold off. We have seen in the past players fast expanding, struggling to hold their defenses. Leta with his factory going up, he's going to be far ahead of Flash in terms of tech, and he might even be in a position, if he can play it right, I would suggest that Leta would probably even want to go for a starport straight away after putting that factory down, because he would be able to put a lot of pressure on Flash. Leta now putting his SCV and trying to stop Flash from taking that putting that barracks down, and Flash obviously is forced to pull a couple of SCVs off the line, and that's again going to slow him down a little bit. He is already behind Leta in terms of the early economy and the early, sorry, not in terms of the tech, but he's going to hope that he can get that economic advantage up, and Leta immediately starting up the second factory as well, so he knows that he's got to put pressure on Flash, and it's just going to be interesting to see how Flash can cope with it. This is going to be interesting here, because on the one hand you've got those two bridges which can be easy to defend, and that in theory should help Flash defend against Leta's pushes. On the other hand, Leta straight away now going for the machine shop as well. On the other hand, Flash could find himself getting landlocked in that little corridor, but if Flash can actually, and Leta now sending the Marine out, Flash with his timing has got his Marine out at the same time as Leta's arrived with his Marine, and Flash with his SCV able to hold the defense, so that's certainly good play by Flash. He's clearly timed the positioning of his Marine coming out against a player going for a more standard build, and he's going to be able to hold this defense. He's obviously putting that bunker down, and that is crucial obviously, because Leta with his factories down is going to be could have potentially sent vultures down, but I think Leta realizes that Flash was obviously going to put a bunker down once his 14cc had been scouted at a certain point in time, and that it wouldn't be much use to him to send early vultures out. He'd be much better getting those siege tanks in position and getting them in siege mode versus Flash. So Flash has surrendered that early initiative. Leta, Flash now just about almost finishing his factory. Leta once again getting his SCV inside Flash's base. Flash unable to prevent that scout from going off by Leta, but Flash But Leta, Flash has obviously surrendered the early pushing advantage and the early positional advantage. Leta straight away going for the second machine shot. But I think this is a clever move by Leta, though I would have probably preferred had he gone for the starport. And Leta with a siege tank on his own ramp, blocking Flash, not allowing him to see that second factory. And that's crucial, obviously, because that barracks from Flash is not even being sent towards Leta's base. And obviously he's going to retain that barracks for floating. And Flash, interesting enough, it's going to be Flash who's going to put the second starport down. And I think that starport might be the X factor here, because obviously Leta's gone for the 2-factory build. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not Leta puts that armory down in anticipation of Flash trying to do something like a starport in order to nullify the extra positional advantage that Leta's going to have early on. Obviously Flash realizes, and Leta has to realize, that Flash is going to have to need dropships to break out if Leta can set up a contain here. Flash obviously having the advantage of his floating racks as well. That's going to give him a little bit of sighting advantage. But Leta's going to be coming in with his siege tank soon. Flash is going to have that starport out, and it'll be interesting to see whether Flash tries to get that control tower up to try and... but I think he's probably... and he's going to go for that control tower up first. So we're actually going to see either cloak raid straight up from Flash, or more likely, Flash getting the academy up as well. Obviously realizing that he needs to know what Leta's doing in his base, what sort of build exactly Leta's gone for, whether Leta's gone for one faction to expand, or whether he's going all in. Leta obviously committing himself to this attack, and Leta's now got 2 siege tanks and 2 vultures. Flash with only the 1 racks, he obviously has his factory out. I'm not sure if Flash has any siege tanks out. Leta and Flash again, cleverly trying to hide that SCV just around the corner of Leta's natural expo to try and sneak it in once Leta's forces to push out, try and get the scout out. But Flash has only got the racks here. Leta pushing in with the 3 siege tanks. He's only got the 1 marine though, so that Wraith is going to come in handy for Flash. Leta immediately with the siege mode as well up with the dual machine shop, dual factory build, and that bunker is going to go down in quick time. Flash trying to build a second bunker as a sort of second line of defense. Flash already loses his first couple of marines, and now Flash's natural expo is going to come in a little bit of trouble here, although he will have the height advantage, but he's going to Leta could always be positioned. We've seen in other Terran vs. Terran bases that Leta can go around the left hand side of the map and position his siege tank so as to shell that extractor. So Flash losing the early advantage that he might have had against Leta, but now Flash has got 2 siege tanks. He kills off one of Leta's siege tanks, so that's going to be huge. He again does have that command center flowing to spot for him. He's got the vulture, he's got the Wraith coming out as well. Leta has got no anti-air. I don't think Leta's even put an armory up or started an army up as yet, so he's only got the siege tanks and the vultures. He's obviously, once he puts that army up, he's going to be able to turn those Goliaths out, and it looks like Leta's might be starting up his, and he has got that armory down now, so he will obviously be turning the Goliaths out. I'm not sure if he's produced any Goliaths as of yet, and meanwhile Leta's also getting the spider mines planted down, so Flash is in a fight for his life here to retain that National Expo, and Flash obviously with that 14cc build has surrendered, and Flash looks like he's going to try and push out now. He's got 3 siege tanks, but the spider mines are obviously going to be preventing him. He's obviously got his academy up, but he's only got the 1 scan because his other command center has been lifted up, but he's forced those siege tanks back. Leta again with the armory. I still don't see any Goliaths on the ground for Leta. He's now got his first Goliath out, but it's still a long way away, and Flash has an opportunity here. He's now using his comsat to try and take those spider mines down, trying to be able to push down. He's got the 4 siege tanks, he's got the ground force necessary, but he needs to take that second siege tank down. Leta walks his siege tank right into Flash's siege tanks, so even though Leta is pushing down with the Goliath, he doesn't have it. Leta now positioning spider mines just to the west of Flash's second ramp from his main, which is obviously blocked off by that mirror. So Flash has now managed to get his command center. You gotta feel that Flash, and Flash, oh my god, almost getting taken out by the spider mine. Spider mine hits 2 of Flash's siege tanks. That is horrible for Flash. He's obviously going to be able to repair them. Unfortunately for Leta, even though that spider mine hit the 2 siege tanks, he doesn't have the follow up to be able to take those siege tanks down. And Flash getting caught off guard. He thought he'd taken all the spider mines out, but now Flash is in a very good position. Leta is going to be behind in terms of his economy, although he did take out the refinery from Flash, so obviously that's going to slow Flash's economy down. Flash has got cloak raids now over Leta's base, harassing his economy, and we've seen how effective Flash can be with these raids. Flash now hammering away at the SCVs, trying to build that academy down. He has already got 2 raids there. Leta starting the academy quite late. He obviously didn't anticipate the cloak on the raids. Flash obviously produced the 1 raid before putting the control tower down, and now Leta's managed to sneak through vultures into Flash's base, and this is going to spell trouble for Flash, because any damage that he's doing to Leta's economy with his raids is going to be offset, and Flash still hasn't pulled those SCVs off the line. He's got the 1 siege tank to fight those vultures. One of the vultures has gotten taken down. The other vulture is hurt and is going to get taken out with another hit, but Leta has been able to do decent damage to Flash's economy. So this game, folks, is really even between these 2 players. Flash obviously went for the early build, and again Leta trying to complete that academy, still hasn't been able to get that academy down, but Flash's raids lose their cloak. One of the raids loses his cloak, the second raid is still there. That academy probably is going to get taken down. Flash meanwhile has been able to clear out his own expo, and the academy gets completed just as the SCV gets killed. So Flash getting the kill on the SCV a second after the academy gets completed, but Leta's now got his natural expo up and running as well, and it has to be said he probably has a macro advantage against Flash here, because he's got got 2 factories with machine shops, and now Leta's also got the Vulture behind Flash's mineral, although that Vulture looks like it's out of range to hit those SCVs. But Flash, this is going to be interesting here. Flash, again, I do think that those raids do give Flash an advantage in terms of being able to spot, being able to scout, and being able to get a decent position. And Flash has now set up a forward position against Leta, and Leta's early push obviously filling. The key here obviously was that Leta lost all the tanks that he had early on. He lost all 4 or 5 of those tanks. So Flash definitely does have an advantage here, and also with the fact that he's ushered Leta's barracks away, gradually pushing and shoving up his way up this map. And we all know that position and position and position, it's like the real estate market with location, destination in Terran versus Terran. Flash, though, with only the 1 factory thus far, Leta obviously is going to be able to catch up in that